My name is Regine Peters, and I am from Namibia, which is in Southwest Africa. I would say it's sacrifice. Food fasts are different from social media or phones or different pleasures of life in that we actually need food to survive. And so when we deny our bodies this important piece of life in order to honor God, in order to surrender ourselves, our spirit to Him, I believe that because Jesus did it, God knows that that is something that is completely unnatural, and that's not something easy. And not to say that any of those other things are easy, but it is a different type of sacrifice when you look at giving up something important to life, vital to life, versus something that over time we could do away with, like a phone or social media. Both are important, but your heart posture also during your fast is important. So I'll start off by saying that I was called to it. 40-day fast, again, is unnatural. And even if we go into the Bible, we see that there are only a few individuals that did it, and Jesus. And so looking at that alone speaks to the greatness of the sacrifice. And like I said, I was called to it. It wasn't something that I would choose if I could choose. And because of that, I knew that it was the Spirit leading me to do that. And also understanding that the Spirit would not call me to do something that, one, I wasn't ready for, or one that I couldn't actually do. And it being so absurd was just, I guess, a confirmation that I had to do this. So preparation for the fast was difficult because it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of conflict, a lot of, I guess, reasoning of my mind trying to tell me, no, you can't do this. You can't not eat, right? But beyond that, it was also the Spirit urging me to do this. So going into it was already a challenge. And then going through it, it was humbling, but it was also enlightening, and it was challenging, it was frustrating, and it was sweet, and it was holy. And it all of these things came at different moments, and I'm able to sum it up now because I'm through it. But in those moments, it felt like it would last forever, especially the hard times, especially the challenge, especially the frustration or the irritation or the anger with God especially. It felt like it would stay. The only thing that comes to mind is the body. I think looking at our body, looking at our flesh, we are slaves to it. And slave meaning that we kind of just give it what it wants all the time. And during the fast, it would be, I didn't have a calendar, but I definitely was keeping track of the days. It started from, day 1 to about day 21. And I'd always looked at, oh my goodness, like I have so much more to go and I'm not eating. And it was always about, I'm not eating, I'm not doing what I usually would do, and I would still have to come to work, I would still have to function normally. Still be attentive and loving to people, even though I am irritated. And those were physical needs that my body had that they weren't met. So looking at that and constantly looking forward to, oh my goodness, I still have this amount of days to go. There came a shift after, I think, past the middle, day 20 something, where I had looked back and looked at how many days I actually had already made through. And so realizing that I've conquered my stomach, I've conquered my body, like I'm still alive. I never had thought, oh, this could kill me. But, at some point I'm like, God, I don't think this is what I should be doing to my body. And so looking back at all of these days that I had finished, I was like, whoa, we did that. And so we can continue to go. And so living in the physical world, but doing something that is spiritually edifying was a huge contrast to my life before, because I started to look at like the other things that I enjoyed doing, and it wouldn't make sense why I enjoyed doing them. Like even social media, it was just a distraction. And I started to think about all of these days that I've gone without doing these things that at one point were so normal to me, that I realized, at the point that I get off of this fast, I don't need to go back to that. Or if I do, I don't become a slave to that again because I've lived 40 days without it. So that's a benefit to me, is realizing we are like, the body is weak, but the spirit is willing. And knowing that and feeling that, I think it also gives you a gauge on self-control and understanding what that actually means, and how the spirit gives you that fruit and how you can actually receive it and live it. Beyond that, the physical benefit of fasting, like I lost a ton of weight. And like weight was something that I struggled with for my college years. I'll say like most of my life, but really my college years is where it amplified. And just watching my body go through changes. And again, I did research, so I did look up what happens to your body when you fast, and just learning that it was essentially cleansing itself, because the digestive system went to sleep because it didn't have anything else to do. So in this time, it was actually just a cleansing of my body of different like toxins and things that we consume through our food, just like chemical dyes and stuff like that we don't think about. Just seeing and realizing like, oh, my body feels better. My body feels better just on water. Like, that's crazy. And it doesn't take like 40 days to do that. But even within the first few days, when I thought that I would be very sluggish, I started to become more attentive, more aware. I was able to function better. I think just because my body was able to process things other than food. And so this is also from what I read. A lot of the benefits of the body really kept me going, because I had to remember like, okay, there is something good happening besides me just being depleted. But spiritually, it's just a time to be with God. I think our spirit rejoices just being with God, being away from the other things that distract us so much. And if you can imagine, like, the spirit is now the pilot of your body versus it being your soul. And so I just imagine my spirit just being so excited that it finally was like, it took the wheel and it was able to just lead me. Feeling that was very different than before. And again, it goes with self-control, because then I started to realize like, oh, even though I don't like reading the Bible right now, I can. And I can complain about it and moan about it and tell God that I did not enjoy that. But because I could sit down for a moment and just focus, I know that it did something that I may not understand, but I know that I will be satisfied with later.